Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, Prime proudly presents the sixth stop of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. And welcome to ABC West Plains, where this week we had our largest field of the season, 68 teams. Now we'll see the top three, featuring some talent we haven't seen before, go for the championship. Hi, everybody. It's good to have you with us from Pennsylvania. I'm Bob Dolan with Earl Anthony. An interesting field because we're going to see a lot of new faces, a lot of new talent, and we'll see them right away in our semifinal match with our number 3 seed, Earl, team unsponsored from Washington, D.C.
Now think about that, folks. Team unsponsored. This is a group of 5 guys that can really play. They bowl 4 out of the 5 guys bowl league together all the time, so they know each other's game very well. And experience is always a key factor in the World Team Challenge. So when you look about that kind of experience, when you bowl together as a league team, I think that's very important because you know each other's games. Now, they don't even have a sponsor in league, Bob, so they're in trouble there. But maybe if they win tonight.
I bet they'll have one very easily. Our number 2 seed does have a sponsor. They're from Canada, Brunswick Quantums.
Well, this team, again, experience, again, I keep using that word because it's such an important part of winning a team event. They bowl together 4 out of the 5 guys, and this team bowl together as a team in tournament play. A little different than league play, but they know how to adjust to varying lane conditions. Their team is very tough experience-wise under pressure.
Now, whoever wins that semifinal match will have their work cut out for them because waiting in the championship is our number 1 seed, Columbia Turbo Grips.
And this, again, another very strong team, another very good tournament team, as opposed to team unsponsored, who's a league-type team. Who's going to win out? Experience-wise, who's going to win out? Who's the toughest? That's the question.
It's going to be interesting to see how all of this unfolds, and we're glad you're with us to watch. Semifinal matchup is coming right up. Bob Dolan and Earl Anthony with you here from ABC West Plains in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania for the Brunswick World Team Challenge event. Team unsponsored, our 3rd seed against Brunswick Quantums, our number 2 seed. And this is team unsponsored, their leadoff man, Graylon Clagett.
Yeah, made a great shot for his opening shot on television. You know, this is called team unsponsored because obviously they don't have a sponsor. They don't have a sponsor in their league at home, where 4 out of the 5 guys on the team bowl together. In league for the last 2 years they've been doing that, and it's kind of interesting. You might even say they're team unknown instead of just team unsponsored, but they will be known after today.
Clagett gets the spare in the first, 59% spare shooter in Baker match play, and now we see the leadoff man for Brunswick Quantums, our number 2 seed, and this is Chris Soule. Now, as opposed to team unsponsored, most of the bowlers, all of the bowlers on this number 2 seed have appeared on television before. But for team unsponsored, only one man. We'll see him later. The left-hander, Chris Soule. He's 25 years old, and he starts things off here for Brunswick.
Lane condition we were bowling on has been addressed by the American Bowling Congress to their specifications. It's a very fair lane condition, but not the kind where you can expect big scores. You've got to make good shots, and that's what bowling's all about, folks. You make good shots, you can score. If you don't, you got your hands full with spares like this. Tough spare, the 2-8.
And we have an open in the first for Brunswick Quantums.
Both teams just trying to get their feet wet out there, Bob, and first time that light comes on, you get a little nervous.
Now we see for the first time Ernest Sevous, the captain of this team unsponsored club. Sevous, 32 years old, 2nd frame.
Oh, got a big break there, Robert. Only the 610.
Contour Power Grip starting lineup brought to you by Contour Power Grips, pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips, and you should too. Clagett, Sevous, Spriggs, Chapman, and Smith. 2nd frame spare for team unsponsored. And filling the 2nd frame and the 7th frame for Brunswick Quantums, this is Alan Tone. Contour Power Grip starting lineup brought to you by Contour Power Grips, pioneers in the finger grip industry. Their lineup, Soule, Tone, Viale, Rennox, and Tim Mack. Tone in the 2nd frame.
This team, you know, experience-wise, I like to use that word because I think it's so important in team play. And this team has played a lot of tournaments together. 4 out of the 5 guys in this team generally bowl a lot together, and they're very comfortable with each other's games. They know how to make the adjustments they like to make, and they get around. You know, they play a lot of different lane conditions, so that helps them to adjust to the varying lane conditions.
Those are the teams we normally see do well in these team events. Those that have bowled together as teams before.
And then there's always that sleeper like this team unsponsored. You don't know, they're an unknown quantity. A lot of talent on this team. Very good players, but a lot of people have never seen them play before.
I would think many bowlers would believe, Earl, that it's easy if you just gather 5 individual bowlers and make a team, but it's not that easy. It takes something different to make a good team.
That's exactly right. And there's a great shot by the young left-hander there, and Ernest Spriggs. And this team, again, like you said, it's very important that they match up mentally and how they think and how they adjust, so there's no personality conflicts. It's hard to be a unit and bowl like a team if there are personality conflicts.
So the strike from Spriggs in the 3rd for team unsponsored. Now 3rd frame, Brunswick, Chris Viale. They're looking for their first strike of this match. Remember, it's a 2-game total pinfall in the Baker system.
This young man has played in a lot of tournaments. He's very experienced, and again, you know, he's been on teams that have done very well in the World Team Challenge in the past. So you could expect him to be the kind of player that is not going to hurt you. It's going to help you whenever you need a mark, you need something to fill. And that's probably why he's bowling in the middle position in the 3rd spot.
Team unsponsored with a 10-pin lead early on in this first semifinal game. Now, Anthony Chapman, he is the one member of this team that has appeared on television before.
Just a young guy and really got a lot of talent. Throws a tremendous ball, he's very smooth. For a big guy, a guy this size, he gets to the foul line like a ballerina. It's just amazing how good his tempo is and how consistent he can be with the release. Here's another look at it. Watch how free the arm swing. Look at the balance at the foul line. He gets through the ball extremely well. Just look at the big hook on the back. That's what got him in trouble. But he's an excellent spare shooter. This one got away from him. 3-6-10, and he missed it.
4th frame for Brunswick Quantums, Warren Rennox. 3rd time in the World Team Challenge event. 3rd time in the TV finals. 4th frame, still looking for their first strike, and that won't be it. The lanes here for the championship, 43 and 44.
Here's another look at that shot here, Bob, and watch this ball. It just barely got to the right of the head pin and just made a left turn. And again, the lane condition is a very fair condition, but you have to make good shots. If you make a mistake, it'll emphasize it. The back ends are dry. There's a lot of oil in the first part, but there's nothing in the back. So you've got to get the ball started through the head area, the first part of the lane, on the line you want it on, or it's going to leave it and tip off on you. Again, spares have been tough.
Rennox was near perfect in spares, 16 of 17 in the match play, but he misses one here in the 4th. Now the anchorman, our first look at the 2 anchormen, and this is Norman Smith for team unsponsored.
This is a very confident young man. He really believes in himself, and he shows a lot of poise on the lane. So he could be a big factor in this match because so many of our matches do come down to the end. And there's an ideal shot, your first shot on television. He really got the job done.
Beautiful ball from Norman Smith.
Here's another look at it, and watch the release here. He gets it well out in the lane so he can control it. And look where he's playing on the lane. Isn't that kind of exciting, folks? He's not playing 5th arrow. He's playing between the 2nd and 3rd arrow. That's where you belong. He knows what he's doing out there.
Anchorman for Brunswick Quantums, Tim Mack. Now, we have seen him on television before, Earl, but he's been wearing a football helmet.
That's right.
He played for Penn State, played under Joe Paterno 3 years. They went to the Fiesta Bowl, Blockbuster Bowl, Citrus Bowl when Tim Mack played there.
And his father was a fine professional bowler, so that's probably where he got some of that athletic talent. In fact, Jim Mack, his father, won the 1973 Classic All Events at the American Bowling Congress Championships in Syracuse, New York.
Mack is still a student at Penn State. He's a grad student. And looking for the spare here in the 5th for our number 2 seed. But they're struggling at the moment, and they trail by 12. They're trailing number 3, team unsponsored. We'll be right back.
Did you ever wish you could do magic? Hi, I'm Brad Cairns, and I never get tired of seeing eyes sparkle and jaws drop when I perform a little magic. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can do magic too. I've made a video that will help you master some of the basics of misdirection. Imagine you'll be able to make any small object completely disappear and then pull it right out from behind someone's ear. My video gives step-by-step instructions showing you some of the most clever magical effects ever devised. Grandparents can dazzle their grandchildren, parents can amaze their kids, and every trick can be performed with household items. Like the nut and bolt mystery, you don't need any special props. Let me share my magic with you. So order my new magic video now before they all disappear.
Learn the secrets of magic quickly with this new easy-to-follow video. Order by calling 1-800-352-2121 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $3.90 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Or call 1-800-352-2121. Sorry, no COD.
It's beginning to smell a lot like roses from where Oregon's sitting, but these Beavers are eager to keep them home for the holiday. Oregon State in Oregon, Saturday on this regional sports network.
Second time around now for all the bowlers. Filling the 6th frame for team unsponsored, Graylon Clagett. He started with a spare in the 1st frame.
Well, there's almost always an out of bounds on the lanes, and generally when the American Bowling Congress does the lanes, it's going to be outside that first arrow. They don't want you to play on that edge and be able to bounce it off the edge and shoot big numbers. And there again, he got that out in that area outside that first arrow, and it's just not going to hook back from there. It's just too much oil.
Perhaps you can see, Earl, how tall he is. He's 6'4", and I wonder if it's what adjustments a taller bowler may have to make that a shorter one would not.
He has to use his legs more. He has to use his knee bend. He has to get down to the line and bend those knees, flex them. And here's a guy that doesn't do that a lot. See how far forward he is with his shoulders? Now he comes back and kind of sits down. That's a great shot, great camera angle. You can see how he kind of sits back with his upper body, and that makes you get rid of the ball early, and sometimes it's hard to control.
Chris Zoll, 6th frame for Brunswick. This club still looking for their first strike of the match.
You know, that's kind of funny that, you know, this is the team that we talked about has been in all these events. They've done so well in the past. A very strong team. Played a lot of tournaments together. You'd think this would be the team that would be right out there and being dominant and be relaxed, but they're struggling a little more than Team Unsponsored is. Maybe they're taking it for granted, looking to the next match.
Especially, though, when you consider, Earl, that this team struck 55% of the time in Baker match play. Now they're still looking for the first one here in the semifinals. Team Unsponsored up by 15 through 6. High game this week here in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. The team from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Ebonite Nitro R with an 11.04. And some of the high games, 277. Look at Kendra Cameron there. 268. She bowled tremendous here this week. Former Team USA member.
It's kind of interesting, too, where she was playing on the lanes. You see a lot of the guys in there with the resin reactive bowling balls, playing the 5th arrow, throwing the big hooks. She was going right up the 2nd arrow and hitting the pocket almost every ball.
And he's one of the best bowlers in the field here. Sevous in the 7th frame for Team Unsponsored with the spare. Some other scores here at ABC West Lanes. High series, a couple of 708s. Robert Brust and Malcolm Huff, and the highest average, 216. But again, there's Kendra Cameron with a 213. Second highest average in this event. I'm sure we'll see her down the road, Earl, in some of the women's division events.
Oh, yeah. We're looking forward to 6 of those later on in the year. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of the best bowlers in the nation on the distaff side out there showing the guys how to do it.
The distaff side.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Just slipped
You're a
right
horse
out.
racing fan, huh? Alan Tone, 7th frame for our number 2 seed in this club from Ontario.
Oh, no, that's trouble there. You know, sometimes a bowler will think, well, the solution to everything is which ball do I throw? And rather than adjusting on the lanes or using the same ball for spares that they use for the strike, especially when it's a pocket shot, as that one was, they'll switch bowling balls, and then they can't let go of it because the thumb doesn't feel right or they stick in or something. And sometimes when you change bowling balls, it's hard to have a smooth release. And that, I think, was what happened right there to Mr. Tone that got away, cost him an open.
Spriggs in the 8th for Team Unsponsored.
Got a big break there, and believe me, after that missed spare, if he'd have given it right back, it would have pumped up the team from Brunswick, Brunswick Quantums. But because he got the 7-pin down, he left himself a very easy spare for a left-hander, only the 3 and the 6, and he'll go cross lane at this, use the strike ball, Just let it roll up into the spare.
He had 93% marks in match play, and there's one for Ernest Spriggs in the 8th for our number 3 seed.
We mentioned before how Chris Viale is. This guy's been around a long time. He's only 26 years of age, but he's an old man as far as tournament play goes. He has a lot of tournament experience. He's bowled with a lot of the very best players on the East Coast. And you would think he would be a very settling influence for this team, but he doesn't even look comfortable out there right now, Bob.
He gets him going there, though, in the 8th with the first strike for Brunswick Conference, but still they trail by 25 as we enter the 9th frame. Anthony Chapman.
What he got here, he got it. I'll tell you how big that is, folks. Even though this is 2 games total pins, look how relaxed that team is. They're having a good time. And Anthony Chapman is the only guy on that team that isn't one of their normal team members. And watch what happens here. Watch the head pin. The pin right in the very front here goes to the side, comes off the wall, and just enough to knock it down. That's the kind of shot that Ed Bauer used to carry all the time. He's the kind of guy who would do that. But anyway, that loads up the 10th frame.
He didn't carry it enough. That's why he's in the truck.
That's right. That loads up the 10th frame and brings their anchor man up there on a strike and a chance to really extend this lead that they have right now, because obviously Brunswick Quantums just aren't getting it going. They aren't getting the job done. Tough spare for a good spare shooter. 3-6-10. This is always a tough spare.
He got it. Remember, Rennox had an open frame in his first frame, the 4th. And again, team unsponsored, again with a 25-pin lead. But it is 2 games, total pinfall in the Baker. Now the anchorman again, Norman Smith. 3rd-year PBA member. In fact, this year, Earl, he's competed in 3 national